I'm gonna get my coffee.
No, there's a copy over there too.
Okay, okay. I'll keep like that.
Okay.
Happy dollar.
Good morning.
Well,
I'm
good. Happy dollars.
Nice to meet you, I'm Linda Ralph. So, like, I'm sorry.
He does a beautiful job. Chrissy's
You always go like this.
got a preacher.
That would make it funny. But I did make a comment back. No, boring. No, I appreciate the thing.
Do you want the rotating sponsor banner?
Pretty.
That was just.
Many years ago when I passed away. And my father, who did everything. You're going to.
Yes, sir.
Okay. He's a big dog.
He'll officiate.
Those who passed away.
There you go.
And
You want to get away from there.
my wife was with them, mother. My wife had been working in the church. She's the lead after this. So my dad sits down.
He's coming to the airport. I didn't know. Probably Kathleen will be there.
He said, we're gonna do that for the morning. So halfway through, you know, Barry's gotta go. My mom gets up, dad gets up. We're doing away with.
Yeah, funny without a ride.
Yeah, it got that.
Listen, guys.
Yeah, about it.
Just take a country guy, number 2 on 2 or.
Right, right. Thank you. Hi, can I come sit next to you? Please.
We got money. Okay. You don't have to. Yeah, yes, they do.
We, one time we asked him if we could do it. With the rest of the pot.
Good.
Rather, because we got $1 million building. Rather than using the money. That we would put it in the pot and keep it. Every year we would check today.
Okay. She says it's 5 days
No,
processing,
couldn't do
so
it.
you should have it today.
Because you might
So
stop,
at the very
you might
latest-
stop doing your event altogether and then.
Okay.
You ended up with all that.
I-
all that
Like-
money.
Yeah. No, I'm.
Yeah.
That. Free, yeah, free.
Well, actually, it was like perfect timing because I got down there.
Computer and then you walked in the door like a minute later, so I was like,
That's great.
I figured you grabbed it from.
Because now we're-
Yeah, the kid, so.
Okay,
Now, if you didn't say you were gonna be here and it wasn't here, then I really was.
I need to get
Yeah,
wrong.
or if it was all this. There's one year.
Just go make right into Gary's computer and not having.
And I had about $700.
Question for you.
And I went out and
Do you have keys to the storage?
Laptop.
So how
Who
much
has
do you
the
need
keys to
for the
storage?
camera?
Cause I have, I needed him to take the jars, the centerpieces, and put them in storage.
Maybe they're 50/50 because.
I
went to call them, they had to file.
I've got.
Oh, no, license with the camera.
Do you wanna take it?
How big?
That gets true, that gets tricky.
It's a wine box.
I brought stuff over to hand it out to people.
Yeah,
You know, I got
so-
most of it.
Yeah, I got all that stuff. Thank you very much. Our raiders went back.
We already have some coming.
I had.
Okay, I brought all the reports, if anybody has any questions. And
Remember
did
when I
everybody
was
get their
on the
receipts?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
If not, I downloaded them,
Usually he
so I can
downloads
use them in case if somebody, cause like Jessica, my boss, her email wasn't inputted correctly, so she didn't get a receipt, so I just. printed it
I
and
didn't
sent
much
it.
last year and I looked at my, don't have it, that I could brought $10 box of these.
Thing that
beautiful
says-
plates. And I said, I'll take it because they're good.
Can you see that? There's mine.
It's just.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a $10 charge. I don't know, I'm sure that goes.
That
goes to greater dinner.
Yeah.
We should have absorbed those costs. That shouldn't have been, cause I looked at my receipt and it wasn't on.
Now they're closed last year.
I can find out. No, no, I can find out. Well, because
They needed 5.
when the money gets wired, which
Yeah,
Jack showed up today, they do take.
Oh, they take word motion.
Well, it's not greater, it's credit card service fees,
Oh, okay.
cause they're not gonna pay our fees, right? And we don't collect it up front
They all come like.
unless somehow it got set up that way. which I didn't set it
When
up.
I reach out to.
Yeah.
I will research it.
I thought I was like, that's, it's like,
Oh, that's good.
Well, I mean,
And-
the nice thing is that that's the way that it ended up and nobody has any
Well,
questions
and I-
outside of you.
Yeah.
That's more money than Rotary.
Yeah.
saves.
That's really good.
You know, because there needs to, I somebody needs to.
No, it's.
And I think what they were hard, the problem is. I think they're feeling a little down. But they were the ones actually that mentioned me there.
That's what Steve keeps telling.
Right, well, I don't think Steve's in touch.
No, I don't think.
You.
So how's your year going so far?
And I managed to
Good,
hang on
good.
to the jar. So I have them in my car.
That's
downstairs.
important.
It's in storage.
And I'm sorry, I've been a little burned out with too many oxygen. Yeah, but I don't assume anything. That's what I hear, I mean.
What's that?
I went to Marysville, I came to Marysville. He does not know, I got there a little late, and I was first to leave, but at least. Sure.
Okay,
The government was there, and I thought it was an important thing.
Yeah.
But I've got mine tonight. Mine the
I'm on vacation next
foundation
week.
dinner.
I don't stop to store.
It seems like a lot of the options that are in fall.
Yeah, they are.
In spring, which is the fall.
Well, it's funny, up in Skagit County, in our area, all 5 of the clubs do auction dinners, but they stage them, like October, they did the Burlington morning. We do ours in November. The Skagit Club, the morning Mount Vernon Club does theirs like January. And then the March is usually the Burlington midday, Seems Woolley does theirs in early May, late April. Actually, they both late April because of condos is so. Yeah, there was some good, I think that was well staged.
You know what that is?
I also think, I know our club is struggling to get people out of it. And I think people are getting to about. I'm seeing some different models than I share with the.
Yeah.
I saw, I had to come hard to like things. Yeah, they do the same. Okay, that drew, I can't believe it. It's $35. They had 6 vendors.
I normally don't even look.
And
It's like-
a lot of it is because it's got a lot of people. That I was.
No, I'm glad you said something.
Leg is president of the Alder. He's really, he's a brilliant. But they had. Book sale.
Lie,
It's like-
don't lie.
It draws a community. I went like this last August. I couldn't believe, and I couldn't believe the energy and the fun.
Yeah.
I saw.
I mean.
It's not a dorky little thing, this is both together, but a lot of work. 4 clubs to do it. Yeah. Yeah.
You're sexy. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, this, I went last, thing, Vegas and Interact.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No.
Back.
Geez, you are.
I don't know. She is the chair for the district.
San Diego.
I was really trying I'm really trying to encourage others. It's not exciting. I think I'll say something. That's something. Yeah, it's really big. And then the Rotary Club does their. I didn't participate, but I came. I was impressed again to see the energy they brought. I don't think Steve. I was like, okay,
And that's probably a good thing, because I've been, right? I've been in maybe like a bit. But what we needed in a pinch. Now we can.
Yeah. Congratulations on a successful.
But not. Why we have volunteers. Well, if you don't stare here. It depends on the venue. Like, if you have an employee, you have to be on a- It's just there, like, then you do this or whatnot, or you have it. But first thing you have to do is break it out.
Maybe that's why. Yeah.
Oh, you. That's just. Trust me, I feel you. No, it's not like we have to. I mean, that's. But she. Yeah, so I.
Yeah.
It's coming down the pipe. I'm sorry. That's my job. That's actually what I do.
One of our guys on our.
I am actually the manager of. There's my role in here. I have a couple other people. That's what I do.
I haven't seen them. But do all of them.
He's taking. All right, let's get this show on the road. Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
250. That was. Yeah.
Come here, dressed up.
Okay. Wow.
All right, welcome everybody. Sergeant at Arms.
Ready for our pledge of allegiance?
Yes.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, our four-way test of the things.
Do you think say or do?
With emphasis on the
First,
bolded.
is it the second, is it fair to all? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Fifth, is it fun? Sixth, maybe the tax. I like that.
Okay, Eileen is probably pulling up an inspirational comment.
So today's quote, should we sit or stand for your?
You can
quote?
sit, it's hard, my bad. I think it's what it
We're
is.
just trying to be respectful.
I do appreciate that. I'm just gonna give you this one, and that is, believe in yourself and you will be unstoppable.
I knew that I was there.
Yeah. All right. Well, welcome to our distinguished guests here. Two Daves, or a Dave and a David, and Dave Duncan will be doing introductions later, but wonderful to have you here. Both of you, thank you very much. Birthdays, we're not having a lot this week, but we do have one. It's Jack.
Okay, do we sing to him or does he pay a
You
fine?
know, I think we have time to sing, whether he likes it or not. What do you think? No,
You know, it seems like as you get older, cacophony is a better way, it's a good way to celebrate the birthday.
to what?
Cacophony is a good way to celebrate.
Now we all have to go out and look at it.
That's my birthday gift.
There's a lot of noise here.
Well, I'm going to assume that maybe that means no song. But I don't know. All right, let's just do it. What the heck?
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jack. Happy birthday to you.
And Jack is our treasurer, and I'm hoping he gets some birthday checks in the mail.
Yeah, what do I know?
All right, just a couple quick comments or announcements. All of you should have received a request for you to submit your preferences for committees to be on. We're getting almost immediate responses coming in, and this is your chance to decide your fate. Just from the standpoint of I don't think we've gone through this process for a while, so we do have full committees, but I don't know if a lot of people even know they're on the committees, right? So rather than just reassigning, I figured we would give us a few weeks to let people chime in on what interests them the most, and then we'll reassign committees. And hopefully it won't mean that the committee chair is doing all the work. Kendra can probably relate to that, you know, but we can rely on a team, you know, to build a better company. Another quick announcement. I am assuming that we have no desire to have a meeting next week, the day after Thanksgiving. Do we have any objections to that? Okay.
Typically do the buzz if anybody wants to go there.
Well, that's the default, obviously.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
you know, it's the, I guess the cat's away thing.
I
Okay,
won't be there, I'll be in Tucson.
and lastly,
You know,
and lastly, there was a lot of chaos as far as bailing out of Clerks and Gates, of course, but I think we got everything. But I do have some stuff in my trunk that I think might be of interest to you, particularly, Laurie.
Oh, yeah.
But if it isn't wine, it's probably in there. So if you're missing anything, paperwork wise, that type of thing, be sure to see me before you leave, and I'd love to distribute it and figure out where it all goes. We do have plenty of wine for next year, unless we want to decide on what to do with it in the meantime, you know, from the
Who
standpoint.
is storing it?
I'm storing it for.
Right, and you physically can,
What was that?
and you physically have the means. the
To
space.
what? To store it?
Keep storing it.
No. No, I had to leave my recycle bin outside.
Oh,
I know, I know, it's like boo-hoo.
We'll probably put it in storage once we get it reconfigured, right, Brian? That's right. Once we actually.
Okay. All right, let's do just a couple of quick reports, and then we'll go on to our program this week. We'll start with you, Gary.
The next board meeting is gonna be kind of a special board meeting. District governor is gonna be there. And, so we're gonna do it at the food bank. And, hopefully we can tour about 5 o'clock to 5:30, get an idea of the teaching kitchen. And Anthony has agreed to use the, teaching kitchen to provide dinner that night for the board members and guests. And so we'll do it normally at 5:30, as we typically do. We won't do it up in their conference room. We'll do it right across from where the food will be served. And so there might be a little bit of setup that will be needed to help Anthony out, like 4:30 or so, but I don't think he's gonna have a problem with that. So I will be sending out a notice early. I have a funeral in Longview, Washington that morning. I'm hoping I can be back. It depends on the traffic. If somebody knows anybody in state patrol that can give me a all the way up, I'll make it. I just gotta get past Fort Lewis and Tacoma. One be in Tacoma. But anyway, special board time, December 5th, Tuesday. First Tuesday of the month, which is our board meeting. So as many of you can get there as possible, fine. And it should be a good night. Give you a good chance to actually see the teaching kitchen in operation that we funded through the district and fund the cause in our own development.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'll echo what Don says. We pulled it off. Last minute club again, but we pulled it off. And to say that we were able to raise $20,100 for bridge receiving. I don't know. Bev and I were trying to talk this through. I don't know if a little bit of it was for Tracy's presentation, coupled by Paul's tearful reminder of how important it was. But it was really something to behold. $20,100 to bridge receiving that will go to help them. I think she was amazed. We all seen the emails that she sent out to all of us. And so it was a worthwhile event, and congratulations to the club. We did a heck of a job. Amelia, the flowers were fantastic. Decorations were great. Eileen did a terrific job of getting it all put together, and First Financial did a heck of a job providing 5 people, 5 or 6 people to run the front desk that and get in and get out. So that helped out.
We're gonna ask them again next year. We're gonna ask them again next year.
Cindy told me that she got a little rubber band because we don't bank with that bank. Yes, Steve said. She said small mine rubber.
Okay.
We might change that.
I've been saying we should do grants in like.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyway.
So it might be good for us to do a social media post and tag them in the post.
I think that would be really great.
Yeah.
I would have done it, but I didn't want to step on toes.
I also think we could, give them something, a basket of something or something like that.
Something that
Well,
didn't sell.
the problem is, I have, and I was gonna do thank you notes, but the problem is, and I don't know if you guys know this, but a couple of volunteers drove 2.5 hours.
What?
There, one of the gals was from Renton, one of them was, forget where else, so they're not all local, there was only one gal that was local, everybody else had to commute.
How about
So-
that, or-
Yeah.
I don't know if they can take them,
Oh.
for banking regulations. But I mean, if you wanna do something, I mean,
Well,
I sent them a really nice
About the
email.
gas fee, what-
I think that's a good idea.
Will allow up to like $25 or $50 for this.
I don't know, First Financial's kind of, banking has
Some
got,
are restricted, and the same thing with notifications. Some will
Yeah.
allow, I think it's some will allow.
or the tax regulation. I think that's the other one.
but we wanna make sure that whatever we do, it goes to people that actually
We're
live
there.
there. And I did send an email on Monday to the team, thanking them for everything that they did. Because I don't know which branch they all worked at.
If you were interested in wanting, they did go to 70, like 20 or 25.
Hey, Gary, do you have anything more or
If so,
on your list? Okay.
Cover the cost and the mailing and everything. For the project.
That's so generous. You are such a thoughtful, generous person. Let me reach out to Steve.
Yeah.
Let me reach out to Steve, but I'll do that.
Because we have lots of homes that we keep in that range because there are a lot of financial restrictions, like my financial advising out. Like I do $5 to.
Okay.
Stuff.
Eileen, can you do a quick recap of Brooks and Cage as far as what, the numbers there and?
So. Thank you all that came and set up and stayed and tear down. And Dawn for your presentation, all the work, because it takes many hands. it is a big production. Oh, and if you don't know, 3 o'clock today at Vancouver doing a recap. So if you want to come and give your 2 cents, you are welcome. So we did, if you include sponsorships, which I know is throughout the year, but, $65,982. And we raised 37,000, it was. Let me find it here. So the live auction brought in $12,225. The first silent auction brought in $26.75. Second silent auction brought in $35.10. Then we did, of course, $19,100 for the paddle race, plus the $1,000 that Tracy has, her proxy, spoke of. We had $2,580, the ticket sales. We had a $100 donation. And then we had an additional $192 of additional sales, which could be drink tickets, it could be the wine, it could be miscellaneous, but, yeah, for having really put this together in like 60 days, I think that's pretty impressive, I'm just gonna say that. Yeah, so I think we did a fantastic job, Paul did a wonderful job, he really did above and beyond. And of course, First Financial was there to help check in, which we're going to try and get them next year because that was huge, huge help. Hopefully everybody got the receipts. If you didn't, please message me because I can download them and print them and give them to whoever needs them. We still have some outstanding sponsorships we're working on getting, so that's coming, which is also exciting.
Great.
And so what's the total sponsorships? We were sitting at 25,700. $5,700. But there's an additional $6,000.
Yeah. Or 5,000, it ran,
Did we get that?
so it's just 5,000.
No, we got the $1,000 from Tracy.
Yeah, well, we already acknowledged that, but did you and Rand get that squared away?
Yeah, that's squared away.
Okay, so then
You
that
said
is
you
not
thought-
included in here, so then it would be $26,700 in sponsorship plus an additional 5 this time. I wasn't sure, so I didn't-
Okay, so we will do our little drawing after the presentation, so everybody, be ready, because this is going to be the big one. We, and maybe you've heard about this in some of the other clubs, but the State Gambling Commission has cracked down on even Rotary clubs now from the standpoint of you have to have special training to do any kind of gambling. So we did away with our little club wrap, because was literally the only thing that we were doing is you buy a ticket for $2 or whatever. So we're just trying to give away what was left in the pot, so it's all free, that's why everybody gets a ticket. Anyhow, Dave Duncan is going to do the introduction of our very special guest today.
So traditionally, the assistant governor for your area would be here, but Kathleen is into animal welfare, as some of you probably know, and she gets calls to go help with rescue animals, and so she's off on a trip airplane somewhere, and so I volunteered to fill in. A lot of you know that I've been in Rotary for lots of years, not quite as many as your dad, Lori. I looked it up, and it's 56 years for Lauren. That's amazing to me. But anyway, over those years, I have heard a lot of district governors' messages, and I'm here to tell you that I haven't heard any that's any better than David Lutkopf. So it's really a pleasure for me to introduce him. I first became acquainted with him when he came to our club to do a program. He is a 20-year plus funeral director, so he came and gave a program on the funny things that you can see in cemeteries, all the tombstones, funny tombstones. It was a hilarious program, and I really enjoyed it. And then a few years later, at Treat Pets, they had a president's panel of past presidents, and there was David. He is the past president of the Mount Vernon Rotary Club, where he's still a member. He is the past president of the Chamber of Commerce in Mount Vernon. He's still on the board in Mount Vernon. Before he became a funeral director, he was a pastor. He worked a hospice counselor. He's been a chaplain, a college teacher, professor. And so he's really polished. And so he's going to be a tough act to follow for me next year. So a little bit about his personal life. He's married to Mary for many years and has 2 adult kids. He went to Shorecrest High School in Shoreline, went off to Whitworth College in Spokane. Then he went to seminary at Princeton University. So a lot of his initial pastoral work was done back in the Northeast. And so whenever I'm with him and somebody says, oh, I grew up in such and such a town back in the Northeast, he's been there. It's kind of amazing. So it's my pleasure to introduce our district governor, David Lukow.
Thanks, Dave, so much. Appreciate it. So it's good to be with you all this morning. And my visit with you today is going to be sort of a simple question. You might think, why the heck would I wake up and, come to this meeting at 7:30 to hear a district governor with such an idiotic question? But it's an important one. Why Rotary? Why Rotary? You see, I think in this day and age, when our institutions, our groups, service clubs, organizations that we used to think were bedrock 30, 40 years ago, have diminished in people, along with influence, I think it's important to ask the question, why Rotary? Now, this is going to be an interactive kind of presentation. You can't sleep on it. In fact, if you sleep, usually what I do is haul you away in the body bag, get it out in my car and just take you away. So I'm going to be asking some questions of you. All I ask is that you respond in a pretty succinct manner. I had a college professor, Whitworth, who used to always say, verbosity is no virtue. So 2 sentences, please. Go beyond that and I'll let you do the rest of my presentation. So my first question to you, and actually I'm going to survey you. How many of you, raise your hand, if you believe your view of the world is broadened because of Rotary? Yeah, everybody's got their hand up, okay. How is that? How has Rotary helped broaden your view of the world? And the community at that? Involvement. What else?
Exposed to the challenges of people in other places.
Yeah, exposed, you're seeing different things going on. Good, thank you.
Knowing about the management, what I gained from being involved in national problems and hosting people and things that I do.
Anyone else?
The weekly presentations.
The weekly presentation? Yes, thank you.
I'm going to add pets for those of us that go through
Yeah.
it. I thought the program this year was very interesting from the standpoint of just opening eyes.
Good, thank you. Oh.
I think that's our hand.
Is that your hand?
Good, yeah, I'm looking at the hand. I see that hand anyway. I was a pastor in Wilmington, Delaware. We lived in a very nice suburban, upper middle class neighborhood. Speed limit 20 miles an hour. Nice homes. I'm out in the front yard one day. My kids are young, they're playing tag. And all of a sudden, out of my left ear, I hear squealing tires. I can almost smell the burning rubber. And I'm watching this car come down the street at a really, really fast clip. Heck of a lot more than 20 miles an hour. Windows down, stereo blaring. And I'm looking at this car and I'm getting angry. And I'm getting angrier. And I'm getting angrier and said, hey,
What do you think you're doing? There are children playing here. This is a neighborhood with 20-mile-an-hour speed limit. Slow down. Whereupon the occupants of the car gave me an affectionate finger and drove away. It was a couple weeks later. I'm in downtown Wilmington. I have to get to the hospital. I've got a member of my church in the emergency room. The arterial streets are clogged. And I gotta find another way around. So I know my way around, and so I cut through neighborhoods and what have you, and I come through this, rundown row house neighborhood. And I'm trying to get to the hospital, and as I'm driving along, I hear someone yell, "Hey buddy, what do you think this is, a speedway? There are children playing here, slow down."
Okay.
Needless to say, I was wearing humble high. See, I think the challenge in our world today, especially in North America, is that we see only what we want to see in front of us. We only want to see our nuclear family, our neighbors, and everything we read and absorb on the internet or television matches those values. What Rotary does is it takes away that myopic hand and helps us see a broader community and a broader world. In the community, you learn a lot about what's happening in Lake Stevens and the surrounding area because of Rotary. As Amy said, the programs are interesting. You come and come away with a broader appreciation for what's going on. I was brand new to Mount Vernon 10.5 years ago when I showed up there for work. I was still living in Linwood. But by getting involved in Rotary and seeing what was happening in the community, how proud I was to say, wow, look at what's going on here and there. It was a no-brainer when they asked me to join the chamber board, because I was able to see what's going on in the community. I was more aware. And obviously in the world, we see, international projects that you're involved with. The opportunity to go to things like an international convention where you have thousands of people with different philosophies, different languages, different ethnicities, different traditions coming together and realizing that they all want to serve people. And that's the thing about Rotary. Rotary changes the perspective. It takes away, I think, the blinders that many people wear to come and see a broader community and broader world and make a difference. So here's my next question, and it's one that I think we don't talk enough about in Rotary, but I think is really important. It's leadership. Show of hands, how many of you believe you're a more effective leader because you participate in Rotary? Everybody's got the hand up. How is it that Rotary's helped you become a more effective leader?
Giving us the opportunity to lead.
Giving you the opportunity, yeah. Thank you, Don. What else?
Things like, well, some of us that went through vets.
Yeah.
And learning the skill, and then the basic workshops that we've all gone through district workshops. And such involved in a variety of the different committees. I think I've gone to 3 or 4 different ones during my 15 years up here. And so you learn different skills.
Different skill set. Thank you.
I think it's the diversity and the variety of the people in the room, like in this room, all of our different backgrounds.
Thank you. I want you to imagine a park bench in Central Park, Manhattan, New York. 3 older retired CEOs get together when the weather's nice. They look out at the children playing, the families in the park, and the tourists coming through. Now, on the park bench, this side stands George. George is in his mid-70s, and he has been a CEO many, many years, very successful leader in his business.
And this side of the bench is Sarah. Sarah's in her late 70s. She was a trailblazer. She became a CEO at a young age, and she was incredibly successful at what she did. And in the middle is Sam. Good old Sam is in his mid-90s. Still dabbles with his company. But he was an incredibly successful CEO. So all three of these people have been incredibly good leaders. So they're talking, the conversation this day is, how is it they were an effective leader? So George starts out. Well, I'm convinced that I became an effective leader because I had great training. I gleaned everything I could from high school. I took college courses on leadership. I did my master's degree work on leadership. I read books, gone to seminars, conferences. I've had a lot of engagement with other leaders, and I'm convinced it's the training that's helped me. And not only that, but I've been able to train other people to be effective at what they do. So I think it's training that's made me an effective leader. We come to Sarah, the trailblazer. Sarah says, well, you know, for me, it was tough getting into business as a woman in my age. But I had some incredible role models early in my life that showed me how to be an effective leader. So I gleaned from the people that I was around. Those experiences shaped me. And then as women became leaders in business, I was able to spend a lot of time with them. And again, we gleaned ideas from each other. So I'm convinced it's been my experience that's helped me to be an effective leader. We now come to Sam. Mid-90s. Very successful. George and Sarah look at Sam and say, what is it that's made you so successful? You've outdone both of us. What is it? Sam pauses, clears his throat, and says one word. Luck. Now, what's luck got to do with leadership? Well, when I think of leaders and leadership, I think of a lot of things, qualities. I think of, again, training. Training is very important. You know, gaining a skill set to be able to be an effective leader. And in some ways, and this is where Toastmasters is a great help, becoming a good orator, being able to stand up in front of people and talk. You've got your experience. Many of you have had some good experiences because you've had some good role models as leaders, and you've gleaned those ideas. And by the way, experience doesn't mean age. I remember the age of 18, I was a freshman in college, and I was asked to lead a junior high youth group. Now, how in the heck did I do it at 18? Because I'd had some good experiences in high school that gave me a lot of insight as to how to lead. I did it for 2.5 years. So experience is helpful. Vision. Do you have a vision as to how you're going to guide people? And to the people that are with you, do they see the vision and understand where you're going? Self-discipline. The ability to speak, you know, in a way that shows kindness, that listens, that's respectful for others, and knows how to when to shut up. Those are all good, all I've shared are good qualities of leaders. And yes, you could go on and on. I could go around in circles and tell you other things about what makes a good leader. But here's the thing. To me, you're not a leader until you have luck. Or to use another word, opportunity. When the opportunities come, then you're able to take that skill set and grow with it. And that is what Rotary offers. Rotary helps us to be more effective leaders. In this day and age, we need leaders that are going to motivate us to do better things, for greatness. That's a good leader. And that's what Rotary instills in us. We've got programs like
what used to be called the Rotary Leadership Institute. Now, RLI, now it's just Rotary Learning. We're gonna have this going on in sometime in the spring here in the United States. We did it a few weeks ago in Canada, and it was a great success. We've got other programs. You can go on to My Rotary. And there are lots of courses, not only on the basics of Rotary, but on leadership. How to be a more effective, empathetic, caring leader that people will truly want to follow you. And then there are things that you've done maybe and participated in for younger people. You've got programs like Yale, Youth Adventures in Leadership, for those that are 15 to 17. That's going to be held in early March in Surrey, BC. And then you've got RYLA, Rotary Youth Leadership Awards, which will take place in middle of May up in British Columbia. Folks, those are life-changing programs. 2 weeks ago, I was up in Chilliwack visiting clubs, and I had coffee with 3 of the RYLA graduates. They're all in their 20s. They wanted to take me out to coffee because they were so excited about gaining leadership skills and confidence. One of them now is going to be a Rotaract president. Before that, she didn't know what to do. Another one's trying to work with homeless people in Chilliwack. Again, she felt inspired by what RYLA did. So I hope you'll support those 2 programs and send youth and young adults. If I was still a manager in the funeral profession, I don't manage anymore, and I had somebody 18 to 30 working for me, I'd send them to RYLA right away. That would be a win. So Rotary helps build leaders. And that's why we gather here today. I've got one more question to ask you. Why are you still in Rotary? Why do you get up at a ridiculous early hour and come here on Friday mornings when you could sleep in? Why are you here?
Friendship,
Friendship, thank you. Relationship, thank you.
the sense of belonging.
Sense of belonging.
Have a laugh.
Have a laugh. Yeah,
And a lot of those.
I mean, I love when clubs do the fifth test of the 4-way test. Is it fun?
yeah.
Because together we can have a bigger impact than we can individually.
Good, yeah. Together doing that is very helpful.
Start off your day with like-minded people.
Starting your day off with like-minded people. Thank you.
And on a Friday, it's great to go into the weekend with that when you have this.
Good, thank you. I have been in 6 Rotary clubs. Now I tease people and say the first 5 threw me out, but that's not the case. I started in 1998 in Rockingham, North Carolina, where I was working in hospice work. That's my wife's hometown. So when I changed jobs and I came up to Mount Vernon in 2013, and I didn't know anybody in Mount Vernon, Washington. But I've been in 5 Rotary clubs. I've been the chair of a couple of membership committees. And so I'm looking around seriously at which Rotary club is going to be the best fit for me. And I have to be honest, and I've had a couple breakfast clubs. In fact, one of my favorite clubs was Everett Fort Garden. Of course, they met at the Everett Golf and Country Club, and their oatmeal was great. So, that was a winner right there. But so I'm shopping around. So I go to the Mount Vernon Rotary Club. They meet Tuesdays at noon. First time I go, somebody's bringing me as a guest. And I'm looking around, and there's a round table. There's a round table over here that says reserve. So I asked, well, what's that for? Said, well, you can't sit there. That's for the elderly gentlemen who love to sit together for Rotary. Okay. So the next week I go by myself, and they ask, are there any visiting Rotarians? And I stood up and introduced myself. I'm David Lukov. I'm with the North Shore Rotary Club down in Kenmore, Bothell, and after the meeting was over, I got chided by a member because she said, you should not introduce yourself. You should have a Rotarian introduce you. Okay. That's a warm fuzzy. The third week, I go, And at the conclusion of the meeting, the president-elect comes up to me and says, David, I just want to let you know there are other clubs here you might be more interested in.
Oh, geez.
Okay. So I don't know what the heck to do, but they were gonna have a social at the old Edison Inn. Now, I don't know how many of you know Edison, Washington, great place. You gotta go to the old Edison sometime, you know? And so I get there a little late. You know, again, I live in Linwood, so I get off of work, I get there, take off my tie, and everybody's at a long table. They're chatting away, oblivious to me walking in there. No one says anything. So I walk to the end of this long table and sit in front of these two older people. Come to find out, these two older people are superstars. One of them, Della Newman, had been the U.S. ambassador to New Zealand and Western Samoa when George H.W. Bush was president. She'd been successful in business and had quite a successful career. The other person was Art Palmer. Art was a 94-year-old who had been a World War II pilot, successful missions 49 times. The 50th mission, he was shot down, was a prisoner of war, came out of the war with tuberculosis and back injuries, and yet persevered. So I'm sitting in front of these two superstars, and I'm sort of expecting them to tell me all their stories and what have you. They told me a little bit. But you know what they did? They wanted to find out more about David Lupoff. They wanted to learn who I was, where I'd come from, and my story. And to put it succinctly, that's when I felt like I belong. See, belonging is one of the biggest things, I think one of the needs we have in life. When you feel like you belong, you truly feel like you're part of a family. That to me is an important human need, and that's what Rotary does. It helps bring people together of different ethnicities, walks of life, what have you, where we belong when we belong to serve others. Speaking of family, my district conference is here. I shouldn't say mine, our district conference. Is going to be a little different. I decided we needed a paradigm shift, so we're doing it at Mount Vernon High School. One-day conference, May the 4th. So may the 4th be with you. You won't forget that date. And so basically on the 4th, we're going to gather 9 a.m. And what I've always been concerned about with conferences is there are a lot of white-haired people, but there are no children or youth. And so this conference is dedicated to all ages, including children and youth. So I'm hoping the Rotaractors are excited about this. Interactors will be excited to be a part of this. Young children will be excited to come because the cost for this one-day conference is $100 for individuals, early bird, $200 for families. When I say families, that could be you and your partner, you and a spouse, and children and grandchildren. $200. And just so you're aware, we're doing 3 days of activities. So on May the 3rd, I happen to love bowling. I can't stand golf. So we're gonna have the first annual Rotary District 50-50 bowling tournament at Riverside Lanes in Mount Vernon. And I'm working on a deal so that it'd be for shoes, all the bowling for 3 hours, and all the food, $35. That's what I'm shooting for. And then the day after, on May the 5th, we're going to do a work project at Camp Corey. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Camp Corey. It's up here by Lake McMurray, a camp for children who physically cannot attend most summer camps, but they can with the supplies they have at Camp Corey. So you can make it 3 days. You can come for 1 day. You can commute from Lake Stevens if you want, or not only do I have hotels, I'm looking to host families. If you want to spend a couple of days with Rotarians, what a great way to get a chance to meet some other people and stay for free. And for younger people, Interactors, Rotaractors, Camp Corey is offering housing 2 nights, clean sheets, $25. Can't beat it. So I hope you'll come this year. And it's a different model, but I think in this day and age, it's gonna, I think, help us a lot. I want to honor a couple of Rotarians. I think one of them is not here today. Lauren, that's your father, correct? Would you do me a favor? I wanted to honor Lauren for his dedication and service to the Lake Stevens Rotary Club. So this is for him, District Governor, People of Action Award for all of the.
Oh, yeah, he will, this will mean a lot.
Good, thank you.
Thank you so much.
He's also got 100%. Attendance.
56 years.
Speaking of 100% attendance, in my story that I told you, the two distinguished people, sadly, Della Newman died a few months ago. She was in her early 90s. Art Palmer, alive and well at 104. Still the best dressed Rotarian. I'm gonna be interested to see if he comes tonight to our dinner auction, which we have, because he'll be dressed well. He was highlighted last year by Eric Johnson on Como, Eric's Heroes, as being, again, a proud veteran. So he told his story. It is also, I guess, Fox News did an expose on Art, and he's still got a sharp mind. But the other person I want to honor is your club secretary, Gary. You know, I mean, first of all, club secretary, but I also know your dedication to the Rotary, the ways you give back, the ways you really build this club up. Thank you so much for what you do, and
Thank you very much.
I hope continued service for you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Then we're going to induct a new member.
We are.
So who's our new member?
Oh, he's sitting back here with the beard.
Oh. Come forward, please.
Daniel? Yeah.
Daniel, welcome to Rotary. This is a great way for you again to be a part of a family, to feel like you're going to grow in leadership skills, see the world from a broader way, and feel like you belong. Rotary involves, you know, we focus on 7 areas of focus, you know, in Rotary that it provides a lot of needs and locally and in the world, everything from clean water and sanitation to health, to environment, to economic development and community development, all sorts of things that Rotary represents. So I hope you'll find a sense of family here. I hope you'll find, you know, you've got some veteran Rotarians who I know are going to help you out. I hope for you, you live by the 4-way test. You know, that's important to me. How it's not just speaking the truth, it's how you say it. So I hope Rotary shapes you, builds you as an individual. You feel like you're part of a family. So.
And this is your official packets included.
Wow. Wow, I'm impressed.
So there you go. And thank you.
Thank you. So, just one last thing before I finish. How many stories did I tell you this morning? Do you remember?
Yeah.
Nah, you weren't paying attention. 3. By the way, on the park bench, who's sitting over here? George? Who's sitting over on this side? Sarah. Who's in the middle? Sam. I heard that story, a different rendition of it, but I heard that story 45 years ago at Princeton. Now, I don't remember all the philosophy, theology, ethics that I was getting told. I mean, it kind of sits on the left side, but I remember stories. Here's a challenge I have for each of you. And this is why I talked about why Rotary. For each of you, it's important to share your story to others. Why are you in Rotary? How has Rotary helped you see the world and local community in a broader way? How has Rotary helped you to become a more effective leader? How does Rotary help you feel like you're part of a family and you belong? Tell your story. you're a growing club. But I'm convinced that more people tell the story, you're gonna outgrow this place. Because storytelling is at the heart of how you get people to join you. Thank you very much.
It's great. Thank you very much to you. We will be making a nice donation to the foundation. Thank you. In appreciation of you joining us today. Okay, it is time for our ticket draw. So if we could have our sergeant at arms grab
612, Ron.
That's okay.
Oh, wow.
Pick the red one, Governor. Read the last three for us.
Okay, the last three. 602.
Oh,
No, I said 612.
I know.
Who's last, man?
Oh, how's that work?
thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Yeah. There we go.
It's always the last.
Always the last.
No, it's not. What do I win?
Well, you gotta pull something out of bucket here, buddy.
I'm done.
Oh.
Thank you.
There's still time for me.
Still time to do this.
And I think we got time for Happy Bucks. You want to do the Happy
Yeah.
Bucks?
I'd like to tell a story going on with what the governor was saying. I went to a meeting several years ago in Tucson. Walked up to this table and they told me, you may not want to sit here. And I said, screw it. So I sat down.
Good.
Sitting with me was a member of the state Supreme Court, the president of the university, athletic director, a surgeon, and a couple other people. So we're sitting there and the president gets up to speak, and out of the corner of my eye, I see one of them pick up a roll. And I'm going,
Uh-oh.
and he's got it down here, and I'm going, what's he doing? And up and throws it, hits it perfectly in the soup that was sitting in front of the president, just getting him covered him with it. Cost me $25 for that event. And so later on, they said, we weren't trying to be mean to you. We welcome visitors, but we've been planning this for a few months, and we knew you were gonna get fined heavily if you sat at our table.
Oh, boy.
All right, let's start with you, Happy Bucks. Say your Happy Bucks story.
Yep, no, Happy Bucks is I'm going to Tucson to be with my oldest daughter, her husband, and my number 2 granddaughter for Thanksgiving. And
Take
we're
your
gonna
missus
go
with you?
make some visits.
And Beth gets to come to it, right?
Yeah, I hope so. She keeps saying, you sure they're gonna fly out of Painfield? I said, "Well, I don't know."
We didn't want to see that.
No, that's,
It's Friday and Thanksgiving is coming.
Yep.
Good advice. I'm happy to be here. I haven't been in a few weeks. It's been a lot going on the last few weeks. And I'm happy that last night my son went to me with a special program from Share. If you don't know about Share, it's a Christian-based support program that you can go to. Next, they're offered all around the area. And I picked up a couple extra copies. They have a program called, that's why I put it in $5. Surviving the Holidays. So if you lost someone in your life, this is a great resource. It can be really updated. Their program was like kind of from the 80s. And how they updated everything. So that's nice. And then this is their former program. It's still a good resource if you've lost a spouse. I saved one for my friend who lost her husband a couple months ago, but these are available. If you have someone in your life that you think can benefit from this, please come just pick one up for me. They're extras.
Man.
Hey, small world, both of my boys went to Shorecrest.
Oh, really?
So we
Okay.
got something in common. Happy to be back. Congratulations on a successful event.
Hopefully San Diego was great.
It was.
And kind of new to this, but, I'm happy because I was picking up a washer and dryer for an owner of ours. And the people had this cute little, well, big bulldog, the 2-year-old female named Morgan. And he said, hey, I was telling her about growing up and I had a bulldog that was getting growing up. And there's these huge lumps of blood. And he goes, well, we're moving and I'm giving her away. I'll take her. The bulldog, she died. And it's just adorable, she's 2 years old. And my daughter goes outside and she's kind of allergic to dogs. And I'm getting 9 years of my life. No. That's
Great story.
I'm just happy, thank you. All right.
I will then go, I've had lots of big emotions this week with, my coworkers and I striking. But I am happy. I feel really proud to be a nurse. I feel really proud to be a caregiver and to continue to just advocate, for my community. It's happy for that.
So I'm happy we found a kennel that I think can actually contain my dog for our trip that we're going on. Because he can get through any gate, any door, any pantry, any refrigerator. And so we think we found a spot that can be able to hold it for a week.
Like a jail cell?
That's Mountain View, they have a ton of huskies in it. And so it's, yeah, he can destroy anything, and he's too big, he can jump over the fences, so their fences are super high. He can open latches, he understands how to, he'll watch you do it and he can figure it out. So everything, if you ever come over our house, all the latch gates have screws with a nut on them, because he can't physically unscrew.
No, I'll be scared to go.
It's
to your house.
crazy. It's annoying.
Yep. Hey, very happy to be here this morning, you know, you got a very vibrant club. I don't have a lot of these, I've got some out in the car, so when I'm done, I'll make a beeline. These are bookmarks to remind you of the date of the district or district conference.
Perfect. We can register here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not ready to register yet, we're not set up yet.
Oh, okay.
We will be soon.
Okay.
We will be soon,
Save the date.
yes, save the date.
So, happy Buck, I really was impressed by your fundraiser that I had last week and good job raising money, holy cow, and the auctioneer tearing up, and I don't know what that was all about. It was a nice effect.
But it worked.
And I'm always happy to introduce David, so.
Thank you for that.
I'm so glad the auction is over. But seriously, just the gratitude of everybody in the room, the generosity, not gratitude. I'm grateful. Just everybody was so generous, and I just appreciate all the support, and we're planning for next year. So yay.
That fundraiser committee has been key.
So thank you, Eileen, and the others that really worked hard on that. It was very successful. Thank you, Governor-elect, for coming, and thank you for coming today. Governor Lukoff, sorry I was late. We're very busy these days, and I have to leave here momentarily. Thank you.
Yeah, get back to you. I am happy for taking comment.
Yeah.
That's great. It was gonna be Canton. Okay. So really happy Dave and David are here and very excited about the conference and the way you're doing it. It feels really comfortable. So I'll be there. Then this one is happy sad. So Dad called me the other day. Dad's 98, by the way. And said, you know, I've got a sore throat. I'm gonna go to the walking clinic. Okay, well, you want me to go with you? Oh, no, I'll be fine. I'll just go by myself. So he goes to the walking clinic, calls me a little later,
He says, yeah, they did the test, I have COVID. Talked to him yesterday, he's feeling much better. My sister talked to him, she texted me and she says, yeah, he says he doesn't have COVID anymore, he's fine now. So evidently COVID lasted 2 days for him.
That's good, that's good.
Yeah, but we still made him stay home.
Got it. Our Zoom guests, Kendra, our solo Zoom guest.
I know, I'm sorry. I would love to be at meetings now, but my husband,
Uh-oh.
Kids must be
My-
running already.
No, she might be talking and our speaker might. Oh, here, wait a second. No, that's plugged in.
oh, I am
It's a
talking.
mystery.
Okay.
Kendra, we're gonna have to assume you're happy. Yeah. I'm gonna put in a dollar for Kendra because she's happy, but I've got more. First of all, I'm happy about our event. I'm happy having you here, David, and you as well, Dave. And speaking of us, a lot, my wife, Eve, went through knee surgery replacement last week. And she and I, a long time ago, after we'd gotten to know each other, we asked each other, what kind of a dog do we remind each other of? And I think she asked the question, I forget how it came up, but I said to her, I said, you're a border collie, because you're always running around and taking care of other people, making sure everybody has what they need. And then she said to me that I'm a dachshund. And I had to think about that. I actually, my aunt and uncle had a dachshund and he was an okay dog, but had to figure out, I never really, it's just because faithful. Dachshund reminded her of a faithful pet, I guess. But anyhow, to my point, she's doing much better now. And it's almost gotten to the point where the border collie thing is getting to be a problem. Because every other day, she's feeling really good. And she actually is getting up and walking, not just like this, but she even tried to take steps with her bad, leg. And the next day she was just, oh, geez, so I'm happy she's better.
Well, I got a happy 5. Thanks to the governor and Dave for joining us. Awesome event. Thanks for everybody helping, bartending. Amazing. I'm gonna be heading right after this meeting, back home away from home. And then the Huskies got a big game, so go Dogs.
Yeah.
Next week, I'll start giving Dave grief about his.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Well, thank you, everybody, for being here, and it was wonderful. I really enjoyed this meeting, so, meeting adjourned.
I heard on the way here that the part of lifted the stay. Oh, they did, yeah. I still have the rest of the packet. I think about it every time I see it. Bar. Sooner or later, I'm gonna do that. I'm right on. Well, that's two.